Carl's got a proper deja vu.
Yeah. Didn't we just get exterminated?
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV, from musicals to noirs to an enclosing time loop. I'm Derek B. Gale, and who's with me today?
You've got AP. Some people might know me as Secret Ranger fan. There's not much to me.
That covers it.
I'm going through a bit of an identity crisis right now, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, almost like you're regenerating into another form, right?
Yes, almost, yeah.
Now, hey, AP, I feel like we've had this conversation before, but would you consider Monopoly a hazardous material?
I mean, it depends on how hardcore you're going, but...
Sure. I mean, some families and friends might consider it hazardous given how badly those games can go sometimes. We are talking about the, as of right now, most recent installment of Doctor Who, the New Year's special that followed Series 13, entitled Eve of the Daleks. Real quick, just for anyone listening who's unfamiliar with Doctor Who, how you miss this like big phenomenon, I don't know. But if you have no idea what it's about, it is a very long-running and influential British science fiction series. It's generally credited as being created by Sidney Newman, Donald Wilson, and C.E. Weber. Aired on the BBC originally from 1963 to 1989, but then following a movie in 96, it was revived in 2005 and is run to this day. By many accounts, I think it's technically the longest-running sci-fi series of all time, with tons of TV and multimedia spinoffs. So it's a huge franchise. Plot-wise, kind of hard to describe, but the bare bones of it is that it follows an alien called the Doctor, who is a very, very, very old Time Lord who has loads of adventures through space and time while aboard a ship called the TARDIS. Even if you don't watch the show, I'm sure you know what that blue police box looks like. And also notably, it does change its actors and aesthetics throughout its different eras. So the Doctor biologically regenerates into a new persona played by a different actor, usually with new companions and often a new showrunner. So that means it has many jumping on points for new viewers. In this case, the era that we're talking about is the era of the 13th Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, with current companions Yaz, played by Mandip Gill, and Dan, played by John Bishop, and it's showrun by Chris Chibnall since Series 11. But that's already a lot of information. I've talked enough, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you, AP, what is your personal history with Doctor Who?
So my personal history only, I guess, technically goes back maybe a couple years. 2017 I started watching it.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was that recent.
Yeah. Throughout my whole high school, all my friends watched it. They kept telling me, you gotta watch it, you're gonna love it. And I never did. I just never watched it, never listened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to a couple times later on. I just couldn't get into it.
Sure.
And then 2017, I was honestly very underemployed. I had a lot of time on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start watching Doctor Who. It's something I've always wanted to do. Never really had the time or patience for it. But right now, I'm going to try it. So I decided to get all caught up in time for the first female Doctor, Jodie Whittaker.
Wow.
Got all the DVDs from the local library, and I basically just marathoned them over the summer of 2017.
Dang.
So, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah. So you started with all the way back to 9 and then the entire revive. Wow. That's so cool. Cause yeah, I know that that's you're the first person I think I've met that I know, I mean, you didn't jump on with Jodie Whittaker, but who didn't start it until the show had already been running in the revived era for that long. I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah, I was starting to get real. I just thought it was kind of cool that oh, wow, it's always been a guy's been the Doctor this whole time. And now they're finally having a female doctor. I thought that was kind of neat. And
Mhm.
maybe it would be like I guess a jumping on point for me, but I didn't want to jump on at that point.
Sure.
So I decided to just get completely caught up on like the modern era.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I had no idea. Hey, I guess that's why representation matters, isn't it? 'Cause it
Yeah,
even
I mean,
gets you more viewers on your
and
stuff.
and I really ended up liking some of the other doctors a lot. I'd say probably, I mean, 13's my favorite,
Mhm.
but I also really like 11 and 10.
Mhm.
And then also, I mean, nine's always going to have a special place in my heart because that's where I started. That was like
Sure.
technically my first doctor. And then 12 had his like charm and his like mystery too. So, I mean,
Mhm.
I guess all of them are technically on the same level in some
Yeah.
shape or form for me.
Yeah, yeah. I have my ones that I have like more of a personal connection to, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way where it's sort of like I feel weird picking a favorite because I love all of them in different ways, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I also jumped on in during the sort of like revived Doctor Who. I never had watched any of the classic era stuff before. I really only knew it from like Simpsons references for the longest time. But I did start watching it, I think, before it really blew up as a phenomenon in the US. Like, I feel like it really wasn't until like right at the end of Tennant's era and then like with Matt Smith with 11 that like it went from being kind of a culty US thing to like tons of people were watching it, and it was
Yeah.
like the big Tumblr show, you know. Like I started it was one of my friends. I was actually just hanging out with her like at her house, and she was like, I watched the show Doctor Who and also Torchwood, and both of them really seem like your vibe. And I think that like her thought process was that like, I know you like Power Rangers and it has monsters in like rubber suits, and Doctor Who also has monsters in rubber suits, so you might like it because it's also very dorky. So I was like, okay, sure. And it was kind of perfect because so the first episode that just happened to be playing when we turned it on was Martha's first episode.
Oh.
Yeah, which is like, I think a really good entry point if I retroactively love the Ninth Doctor and everything, but I do think the early episodes of that first series, like if you have no experience with Doctor Who and have no idea what it is maybe a little bit of a hard sell because I think it
Yeah.
took a little while to like figure out its voice and everything.
Yep.
So like it had kind of figured that out, had a little bit of like good background to it because but it was also only series 3, so it didn't feel like it had been running for a long time, even though it's literally been on since 1963. But it still didn't feel like it had been on that long time. And also you're seeing like you're meeting the Doctor through Martha's eyes. So I'm meeting the Doctor for the first time at the same time that she is. And I feel like it's actually kind of a really good introduction, you know?
Yeah.
And that really endeared me to both 10 and Martha. And then I like fell in love with it instantly. And very quickly, you know, as soon as I could, like watch the first 2 seasons in reruns. And then got caught up, and I've been current with it ever since.
Oh, wow.
Dabbled a little bit in like classic era stuff, but not too much. I'm pretty exclusively my experiences with this sort of revived era, which I mean, it's been running since 2005, which is a very long time now for that alone, which is insane to think about.
I mean, I've tried to get into the classic stuff, made a couple of efforts. I just couldn't.
Sure.
I mean, maybe one day I'll go back and try again, and the same thing will happen to me that happened with the modern era. I'll
Mm-hmm.
I'll try again and I'll like it this time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I for me, I'm mainly with the modern era as well.
Sure.
It's got that special place in my heart. It got me through some tough times when I was underemployed that summer. And then also, honestly, like my dog was sick.
Mm-hmm.
She had just been diagnosed with like really bad like cancer.
Oh no.
So I was just kind of dealing with that and making sure that my dog was okay because up until that point she had been like literally perfectly healthy. It was such a shock to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But so Doctor Who got me through that tough time. It was a nice escape, just a nice thing to kind of focus on beyond like everything else that was happening.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of my comfort shows. So
Oh, for sure. I think it is like, what's wild is even though the universe ends on Doctor Who like all the time, it's still a weirdly comforting show, I think.
yeah.
Because it's never as dark as it can get. It's never like so dark, you know, like it always has that air of like whimsy to it and kind of wackiness. And it's always like just weird enough that like it's never depressing when you're watching it, even when, you know, things are literally dying in it. Cause it's just it's just so weird. And you know that ultimately like shit's going to reset and it'll be fine eventually.
Do you want to come with me? Because if you do, then I should warn you. You're going to see all sorts of things. Ghosts from the past, aliens from the future, the day the Earth died in a ball of flame. It won't be quiet, it won't be safe, and it won't be calm. But I tell you what it will be. The trip of a lifetime. Trip of a lifetime.
Doctor Who, Saturdays at 7 on BBC One.
Speaking of resetting, the gimmick of this episode is a time loop episode. That's really why we're doing this particular one right now, because it was just perfect timing. This podcast had been in the works before this episode aired, and it was while, you know, recording some stuff and doing initial things for this podcast that this aired, and I was like, I want to do a time loop episode on my sort of like early batch of episodes anyway. It seems too perfect that a Doctor Who episode is doing a time loop episode right when this podcast is coming out. So might as well do it. And now it's like the most recent episode of the show. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, the time loop is a gimmick. This is one of those really, really common ones. Like you see a lot of TV episodes that have done their time loop episode where its characters kind of stuck in a period of time that's endlessly repeating. It's often referred to as the Groundhog Day episode or Groundhog Day loop after the Groundhog Day movie, which is probably the most famous example in Western culture. Dan even calls it out like in this episode. That one is the one that people point to and the kind of the modern example. It is kind of fun. Like I was looking back into what maybe the earliest time loop story was, and it looked like the earliest time loop thing ever that I could tell was actually a novel from 1904 called The Defense of Duffer's Drift. In that case, the time loop's explained as just being like a bunch of dreams, but it's still the same sort of deal where the protagonist is like reliving the same battle over and over again and then uses the tactical lessons he learns in one dream to then when it resets by the next dream, he uses those tactical lessons to eventually win the battle. So very basic, you know, idea for the time loop story established. Other things that are kind of interesting, like it actually is I think pre-Groundhog Day, it was a lot more common to see time loop stories in anime more than in American television or Western television. And that kind of dates back to the 1965 novel, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which has actually had like a bunch of adaptations. It was a lot more popular in anime for a long time. But then I think like post Groundhog Day is when you start seeing it a lot in American TV. There's like a couple of Twilight Zone episodes that have time loops from the 60s, but I think the sort of very particular structure of it where characters literally relive the same day and have to like learn new things on each loop to eventually get out of it. That's very post Groundhog Day. And that's very much what this episode kind of cops from.
Yes.
I think it's also interesting that like Doctor Who itself has done variations of time loop type things before, both in the classic series and the revival series. But I think none of them have ever really been at the center of the episode in the way that this is. Like,
yes.
Like you'll see the Doctor using the TARDIS in some weird time loopy way or timey-wimey way to solve a problem. Or it'll be like a brief bit of an episode with a time loop. Or there's like the Capaldi episode, Heaven Sent, which I really want to do on this podcast at some point, and I love that episode. That technically is kind of a time loop, but it's a very different use of it than this is for sure. Like this one is a lot more like enclosed in close quarters and is like, the problem is the time loop. We have to figure out how to maneuver out of the time loop. And like, that's it, even if there's still some fun takes on it.
Yep.
So this episode in particular, I think it's kind of interesting where it lands in the context of 13's era, because this is coming right off of like this big, like the Flux 6-parter.
Yes.
Yeah. And like the whole point of that story was to be massive. Like that's how they advertised it. There's millions of characters, universe-ending shit. It's crazy. Whatever you think of it, like good or bad, the whole point of it was to be big and explosive, big budget, and it was. So it's sort of fun to see this following that pretty much immediately, scaling it back substantially, very few characters, one interior location, one very closed in, not universe ending story, and I'm sure all of that was also easier to film during COVID because there were fewer people on set. It's just kind of fun to sort of see that as sort of a follow-up to what we've been getting for a while ahead of it.
Yeah, it's like coming down from that big, massive event, and now you're suddenly grounded in one place with like literally one thing. It's a time loop. So you're stuck in the same situation after this whole grand, I guess you could say, I want to say mini series. I don't know if that's correct.
I think, it's like, I get not literally, but like within the context of Doctor Who, it as much as it can, like an
event series. You're coming from the Flux event series to just this one like time loop special.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I was a little worried because Flux was so massive. There's so much going on. And then, like, how do you move on from that?
Yeah.
Because either way, it's going to feel a little, not boring, but it's not going to be as like, it's not going to be as explosive, which is kind of ironic considering the conclusion of this episode, but I'm guessing we'll get there.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's sort of interesting because it's sort of like how do you follow up if you're trying to like go as balls to the wall, like ridiculous and gigantic as you did. Like there's no way to follow it up without it feeling like, well, you can't like top what you just did, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so the idea of sort of embracing like, no, we are going to very purposely scale back from that, make that very clear that that's sort of the goal. And I think it's kind of, I think it's all the better for it because I think it would have been too much if they tried to do another big epic universe ending thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also where it lies within the whole Doctor Who timeline as well, considering that the whole Jodie Whittaker era, Chris Chibnall era is ending very soon.
Yes.
I mean, I'd say it's probably one of my favorite specials out of the entire series, just because of how they handle the gimmick and where it lies within the grand scheme of things and the plot. I think it's very well done.
Happy nearly New Year.
Hiya, Nick.
Here we are again.
Here we are again.
Rah.
Anyone else got a proper deja vu?
We're stuck in a time loop with killer robots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does it?
It will kill everything not within its own image.
Shoot.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
I like this one a lot too. I think it's definitely my favorite, episode in general of Jodie Whittaker's run, I would say. And like, I kind of ended up being very down the middle on Flux. Like I liked a couple of the episodes a lot and I like some of the ideas in it quite a bit, but by the end of it, I did feel a little, even though it wasn't very long, it still felt kind of burnt out on it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I appreciate that it's epic, but maybe it's a little bit too epic for my Doctor
A little
Who.
too ambitious, maybe. A little too much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And that is something that, like, as much as I really love Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but I do think the seasons, like maybe the writing on her seasons has sometimes been a little bit spotty in that, like, even when there's some cool ideas, there is often like way too much going on and way too many supporting characters, even when you already have like many companions as well. And sometimes a lot of stuff kind of gets lost in it in a way that feels a little bit disappointing to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to like these characters more, and I do, but I want to learn more about them, but then you have to focus on so much other shit. So then this episode just felt really refreshing in all of those regards because it was just sort of like, it felt a lot more like the earlier seasons of the Revive series, I feel like.
It was very contained and character focused, and beyond being a time loop episode, it was also like a love story.
Yeah.
Very, very, very character driven for the main characters and these guest characters that came in.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was very, very well done. It was a good thing.
Well, I mean, you're totally right. Like, even there's like a behind the scenes video for this episode, and one of the quotes from Chris Chibnall in it is that he called this episode a time travel loop romantic comedy with Daleks.
Oh,
It's like, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there.
Well, that's the other thing, is that like this episode's also really funny. Like, it's like Doctor Who's often very funny, but this episode's really funny. And like the only two supporting characters that you get in addition to the companions are Sarah, played by Eileen B, and Nick, played by Johnny Salmon, who, like, both of them predominantly come from comedy. Like, they have a comedy background first and foremost, from my understanding. And I think you feel that in this episode because, like, obviously the situation is dire. There's like, they're being killed like 8 different times, but it's always like kind of light while all that's going on, you know?
It's like, even when they first find out they're stuck in a time loop, it's like, I just got killed by a robot. Yeah, me too. Like,
yeah. Weird, right? Yeah. It's really fun. And I love that. And it does seem like it was probably fun to shoot it too. Like, in that same behind the scenes video, Jodie Whittaker was like, yeah, you're just kind of shooting it really quick because like you've already set it up and you're just kind of covering these moments. It was actually just like a little bit trippy because sometimes you're like, oh my God, what has just happened? Because it all just kind of turns into one thing in your head because you're repeating it so much. It's actually funny because one of the previous episodes that will have come out by the time this one comes out is an episode on the Community Timelines episode, or Medial Chaos Theory. And it was sort of the same deal. They're not stuck in a time loop, but they are repeating a lot of similar scenes. And it's sort of the same, like in that case, it seemed like it was even more complicated to shoot because it was way more fast paced and there was way more even going on than this. But it was still kind of the same deal where the actors are sort of like, I mean, it was cool, but like, I don't even know what I just shot because I feel like I already shot it 4 different times. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a ton of background to this episode other than that. I mean, I think the background is pretty simple. They wanted to do a New Year's special, and I think they needed to scale it back from Flux, and they did. And the time loop thing was just a fun one to do, and I really like what they did with it, you know. So I think the reviews for it have been mostly positive. I think everything that we said about it have been pretty reiterated in many of the reviews of it.
yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Like, just go with what you're saying there. I don't read reviews too often anymore.
Sure.
But.
Sure.
I can definitely, from what I've been able to tell on social media, it does seem to be a very positively received episode.
Yeah. Well, let's get into talking about the episode in particular because there's still lots of stuff to talk about within it. So let's talk about the episode. If you'd like to watch it along with us, as of this recording, the Flux season and the special isn't on HBO Max quite yet. I'm sure it will be eventually, but right now you can get it on AMC Plus, or you can like purchase it on iTunes or whatever if you want. So it's not as easily available as older episodes, but I'm sure it will be eventually. The synopsis per IMDb is hilarious. The synopsis is: Sarah owns and runs Elf Storage, and Nick is a customer who visits his unit every year on New Year's Eve. This year, however, their night turns out to be a little different than planned. That's it.
That's it?
That's it. I mean, it's not wrong, I guess, but I wouldn't call that a good synopsis. But
it's a
sure.
little bit of an understatement, but okay.
A little bit. The original air date for this episode was January 1st, 2022. It was written by Chris Chibnall, who, like I said, is the showrunner for this era, written a number of the 13th Doctor's episodes, and has written on the Revival series since Series 3. He's also known for being the creator and showrunner of Broadchurch, which also starred Jodie Whittaker. And he also wrote on Law & Order UK as well. Have you ever watched the UK Law & Order?
I have. I have.
Ooh.
So only certain seasons were released in the United States, and I've been trying to find the rest of them. But I've seen the first couple ones, and it's pretty good. It's
Mhm.
it's basically a cut and paste of early American episodes, but with
Oh,
British
interesting.
stuff put on top of it.
Interesting.
Like literally, the plots are literally the same.
Oh, that's
Um,
hilarious.
but it's still pretty good, and it's got a what's his name in it, Bradley Walsh, who's actually one of the 13th Doctor's earlier companions. So
Oh, word.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. There's only like 10 actors in the UK, so there's
yeah.
everybody and everything. This episode is directed by Annetta Lafour. Interestingly, this is actually her first credit in directing television at all.
Oh wow.
At least according to IMDb. She's written and directed like a number of short films previously, but mostly really before this, she was serving as like a script supervisor on stuff, like pretty big things, like in both film and television. I think like the one that I recognize was 28 Weeks Later. So she's been in the industry for a while, but this is the first time that she's actually been able to helm an episode of TV, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it had to be complicated to do this one, so like more power to her for this being your first episode of TV. So I'm gonna walk us through the plot a little bit. This one it's like both easy and hard to recap it, I guess, because it's like nice in that it's all segmented into different loops. And so we can just talk about each loop one at a time. But obviously a lot of things are sort of like set up in one loop that pays off later in another loop. And a lot of things are repeated. So hopefully I don't make everybody super confused. So we'll see how this goes. But I will say the teaser for this episode before the credits is extremely long. I think it's maybe like the longest teaser the show's ever had because it's like 9 or 10 minutes. But that's because they're setting up everything before the first time loop, which I think is really fun. So there's going to be a lot to talk about just from the teaser alone. So this episode opens at Elf Storage on New Year's Eve. We meet the owner, Sarah.
Every New Year's Eve, Jeff, you promise me that you'll work, and then you play me for the fool that I clearly am, and then just at the last minute, when you know I have plans, you leave me high and dry, on my own, on New Year's Eve, working in a business that you know I hate. But not as much as I hate you, Jeff.
She has to miss out on New Year's to cover for her employee, Jeff, who we never see in the episode, but is referenced frequently, which is a very funny running gag that we'll see. A regular and apparently her only customer, Nick, arrives to supposedly drop off a single Monopoly board. They have a little flirtation.
It's obviously everyone's sending me messages and texts and pictures from their night, and unsurprisingly, I don't really want to see them.
Much better being here. You know, instead of all of those parties and people and drinks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not though, is it?
I'm not really one for New Year's.
Yeah, no, I know that, yes. So, you want to access your unit?
Yes.
But she seems to be totally oblivious and even a little bit kind of aggro about it, understandably, because it's a bad night. There's a lot in this scene alone, I feel like that's really fun and like very quickly establishes both of their characters.
I thought it kind of hit the ground running a little bit. Very, very quickly established both of their personalities, their dynamic with each other.
Yeah.
Sarah's just kind of like take charge, and Nick is, I don't want to say sweet because there's some like kind of weird things about him.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of like pining over her. And it's
Yeah.
very clear that this has been a long running thing for him, and she just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, the dynamic is, we referenced like the rom-com of it all a lot. And I think like they get into it really quickly where like, this is these people do not seem compatible at all. How could they ever get together by the end of the story? Right. Cause like he's clearly pining over her and she's like understandably straight up mean to him. Like, I don't blame her because she's having a shitty night, but like, he makes the like, see you next year joke.
Won't be long. See you next year.
Have you been practicing that?
Yes.
Which is an annoying joke that like literally every office worker ever in the history of the world has made at one point. And she's just like, have you been practicing that? Yes. And it's like sad. And she recognizes that she was being a little too mean to him, but it's also like, I get it though. It's a fun, it's just a fun, like your typical will they, won't they dynamic. It's just fun to sort of see it like at the beginning of a Doctor Who episode. I don't think you really expect it.
Yeah, it almost felt like a little bit like a different show. It was
Yeah.
very, very focused on establishing these two guest characters to like make us feel something for them, because that's who we were going to be spending the rest of the entire special with. So
Yeah.
we had to feel some kind of connection with them.
Yeah. Also have totally been there with like, oh, I have to work at a time when everyone else is having fun right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Go away with your stupid having fun.
Definitely been there. Ask me about the time I canceled my own birthday party.
Oh,
But
no.
anyway.
Oh, no.
But no, I get it.
Yeah. So the other a group that's established at the top is our TARDIS crew, the Doctor, Yaz, and Dan. Their whole deal is they're apparently like going to initiate this reboot in the TARDIS to clear out all the debris from the whole flux thing that happened. It doesn't really matter. The main point is that they're doing stuff that they cannot be in the TARDIS for. That's going to take a while. So they're like, let's go have a holiday. It'll be fine.
But that's why we're landing on the sentient beaches of San Rover. We'll be playing chess with the fish, drinking mocktails with the lobsters. Once I throw the last lever, we'll have 7 seconds to get out. We don't want to be in here when it's resetting because, well, we'd die.
I think one notable thing to know going into this episode is that there's been like this really long running tension for the last couple of seasons, really, particularly between Yaz and the Doctor, where the Yaz keeps trying to get the Doctor to open up and the Doctor just always sort of shrugs her off. And the Doctor's been going through shit for the past few seasons, but she has not been open to her friends, even compared to like, you know, how previous Doctors have done it. Like she's been very closed off about it.
Yes.
However, they don't emerge on like a cool beach or anything. They emerge in the basement of Elf Storage, which is like, what? Weird. The TARDIS is covered in like these glowing orange cracks, which is also, that's weird. And then the Doctor senses a disturbance, I guess, with her sonic upstairs, which also weird. And in very quick succession, like, they find Nick, who's been killed by a Dalek, apparently. So there's a Dalek there. They arrive to the lobby. Daleks also killed Sarah. And then the Dalek kills the Doctor and her friends.
Why are you killing these people?
Should we just go?
I'm using my sonic to jam its weapon systems.
Sonic device will not override my weapons.
Yes, it does, because I've used it before.
Correct. Daleks, learn. Exterminate!
Not like this.
And you're like, what the fuck? And that's how the teaser ends.
I remember seeing an interview with Jodie Whittaker because I watched, they call it the extended edition when they air it on BBC America, where they kind of intersperse it with little interviews. And during that, they had a little interview with Jodie Whittaker about that scene, and she said she thought she was getting killed off right then and there, and she was going to regenerate afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, she knew it was going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's an interesting way to do it, but all right.
She's like, oh, this is a little soon, but
That's so funny. Yeah. Oh God, and her just like quiet, not like this. It gets me.
yes.
And the other important thing, I guess, that happens in this teaser, like before Sarah gets killed, she does get like a phone call from her mom, who's like calling early to tell her Happy New Year's because it's like the phone lines are going to be tied up, and Sarah's like, that doesn't happen with cell phones, Mom. You don't have to worry about that. But hilariously, that's going to come into play later.
Yep.
So after we cut back from the credits, everything's kind of back to where it was. Sarah and Nick are having their initial conversation about the Monopoly board. But like they can tell that there's something weird and wrong. They have these serious deja vu. And then the same thing's going on with the TARDIS crew, where at first they're kind of back where they were, but then they're and having their conversation, but they're like, wait, we literally just talked about this. This is really weird. And it becomes clear to the audience that, oh, actually everybody remembers the loop. This isn't a full time reset where nobody remembers, which right off the bat, I think is really fascinating that this episode does that.
Yes.
Like, I don't think it's very common. Like, there's often maybe like one character that remembers the loop, but I think it's really cool that this episode, every single person involved fully remembers, and that makes the sort of dynamics of it and sort of the chess match of it really interesting.
Yes. It provides for a nice dynamic that I'm not used to with time loop themed media. So
Right. So like in this case, they figure they'll go back to where Nick was killed, but they don't see a dead body. So that's when they're clued in like, oh, okay, so we're not the only ones that remember time resetting. That means everybody else here does too. So they go to try to save Sarah from the Dalek, but she's not there because she figured out there's also a force field around the building, adding another wrinkle to this weird situation. So she goes to like look for weapons in Jeff's storage unit. So instead the Dalek kills Nick in the lobby, kills Sarah upstairs, and then kills the Doctor's gang yet again. So they're all still dead, even if they're in separate places. There's still like, there's a lot of still setup happening throughout this one. Cause like, this is when we start seeing this running joke of like Jeff, this unseen employee that apparently just keeps like tons of random shit in the storage facility that's not supposed to be there. Like,
and he also may or may not be living in the storage unit.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Right. And I love that we never get any resolution for it. Like we never meet him. No one ever encounters him or anything. It's always just an off-screen dude. Seems like a weirdo. One of the rooms is literally just like all cans of beef and beans. That's it.
And they're all expired too. Every single one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff too. This is another scene that I really like Sarah and Nick in, because I really like their sort of steady realization, like individually, of like, wait, this has happened before, hasn't it?
Yes.
Like it's really nicely played.
Sorry. Oh my God, Nick, we have to get out of here.
This is what I was coming to say to you.
What? No. We're stuck in a time loop with killer robots.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Does it? Because I actually thought I was losing my mind.
And I liked how they just kind of like jumped into it too. They didn't question it. They were just like, oh, like crap, we're stuck in a time loop. Better figure this out. Like they didn't question it and be like, oh my God, what's happening? Like they were just kind of like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just like Dan references Groundhog Day, so obviously that movie exists in the Doctor Who universe.
Time. Groundhog Day. Same difference.
I feel like if I was in a time loop, I'd also figure it out pretty quickly because I've seen enough movies with it. They're all dead again. Time resets again. So on the second loop, this is the one where actually all the characters do manage to kind of convene, and all five characters, it's five, right? Yeah, it's all five characters meet each other, and they kind of try to put together what they know. But the Dalek arrives anyway. They end up fleeing into Nick's unit. And so a lot of this, pretty much this loop exclusively is just spent inside of Nick's unit. And we learn a few things about him, mainly that he keeps like all of his ex's like items.
This is where I keep stuff for women I split up with. You know, just in case they ever ask for it back. I don't want it in my eyeline, you know, at home. I have a very small flat.
You have a lot of ex-girlfriends. They're alive still out there?
Of course. Oh, God. Of course. Yeah, no, not all of them were serious. Some were just like a few days.
Man, you are weird.
All the women in the room are like, is this guy a serial killer? Like, are these women dead?
Yeah, that's like audience. That's what I meant when I said he's not kind of creepy.
To the episode's credit, it like deals with all of that, and he has growth.
It does. It does.
And like he's a weirdo, which again the episode acknowledges, but it is also like I think it's like it feels like it's coming with him from like a very naive place. Like it seems like he does genuinely like believe like, well, you know, what if they do come back? Well, what if they do want to be friends? What if they do want their Monopoly board? Like it's kind of innocent.
He's just genuinely clueless. Like he's not. It's not malicious or intentionally creepy. It just kind of is creepy.
Right. It's still like, even though it's innocent, it's still a thing that like you do have to learn from and like not do, because it still can lead to bad things down the road if you continue that behavior in certain ways. But that's why he has growth in this episode and he gets better. Yeah. Sarah does not react well to all this stuff. Like, she chastises him for it.
He comes here every New Year's Eve, which is weird enough in itself, and to do all of this, that is weird.
He's standing right there.
It's fine.
No, it's not fine. It's not fine. You're the reason that I'm here. You're the reason that I'm trapped in a time loop with a robot.
Daleks.
Oh my, with stupidly named robots with people I don't even know. Also what? Why? So you can catalog your monopoly?
And that, like, understandably upsets him and, like, drives Nick to basically go, like, sacrifice himself to the Dalek. So he dies thinking that it'll maybe buy the others time to escape, but it actually is kind of all for naught, because they're literally in a storage unit and there's, like, nowhere else that they can go. So, like, that sucks. But what it does do is kind of emotionally affect Sarah, and she realizes, like, God, maybe I have been kind of mean to him. The other thing they learn, the other interesting thing about this episode that I think is another really cool little wrinkle to the whole situation is that the loop is, like, shortening with each loop. Like, they're actually arriving, like, resetting 1 minute later each time.
Yes, it's like the loop is almost changing with each iteration. It's not a pure time loop. They're not reliving the exact same thing over and over again. Yeah. It's everything's adapting around them.
That's true. That's so true. It's like an adaptive loop kind of. It's a really cool way to use it. And then it's like another wrinkle because it makes it all less predictable, right?
Yes. I think that's why I liked it so much, because it wasn't the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It was different, and they had to adapt to it because everything was changing.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, that comes up a lot in this episode, and which I think is really fun. Like, right from the get-go, I forgot to mention it, but there's a really cool bit at the beginning before the first time the Doctor is killed. She's like, oh, I know I can use my sonic to, like, jam your weapon systems or whatever. And the Dalek's like, yeah, you've done it before. We learned from it, and now we're adapting, and that's not happening. And
that
now
whole
I can kill
creep,
you.
that whole, like, intense, like, Daleks learn. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is happening?
Yeah. And that, like, kind of sets the theme to this whole episode, which is just sort of like everyone's sort of learning from and adapting every time. So that's the fun twist in the time loop, because every time loop story is always sort of like you're learning from doing the same thing over and over again and maybe tweaking it. And in this case, like, you're still doing the same thing over and over again and tweaking it, but, like, you have to work a little harder because the time loop itself is also tweaking itself.
Yes.
And the other characters you're fighting against are also tweaking and adapting how they're doing things.
Like, you have to completely relearn everything each time.
Yeah.
Rather than being able to tack something on to the end, or, like, it's like everything you did before the first time, you can't really do the second time.
Right.
So it's like a new plan every time.
Yeah, it had to be such a fun, like, puzzle to write. Like, I don't envy putting this episode together because it is, like, it's not even that it's necessarily complicated, because the actual things that they do in each loop are often pretty simple. They just, like, go to a different place in each loop, basically. But like, them having to, like, decide when to do what and how every character is reacting to every other character based on how the loop is changing, I find so fascinating, and it's had to be so complicated. So they kind of figure out that they're kind of stuck in the storage unit. So the one upside to the time loop is that, like, well, I guess we could just die again and start over. So they let themselves die, planning to meet up in the next loop to look for weapons. This leads us to the third loop. Like, the plan was for everyone to meet up, but since, like, Sarah saw Nick die, she's kind of distraught about it. And I think also, like, knowing that the Doctor has something to do with the Daleks, because she's heard the Doctor's obviously knows all about it. So she's like, the Doctor's obviously the reason the Daleks are here, and we're just kind of stuck in here. So let's say fuck the plan, and you and me, Nick, we're going to go to the basement and use the secret exit that I know about that maybe the force field is a part of. So they kind of dip out. But what's nice about the scene is that Sarah and Nick have this little heart-to-heart.
Why do you always put your stuff into storage just before midnight, New Year's Eve? Feels a little over-organized.
That's the time I know you'll be here. Jeff always lets you down. I have an embarrassing crush on you. No, I don't mean the crush is embarrassing. I mean the time. It's an embarrassing time to let you know.
And so why are you saying it to me like this now?
Because I'm going to be killed by aliens in a minute. Again.
How long has this been going on for?
3 years.
Oh my, what? 3 years? That is so stalkery.
I prefer unrequited or shy.
And Sarah also kind of confides in Nick, like, oh, you know, I told you earlier that, like, I did try to save you, but I didn't actually try to save you. Sorry. And it's funny, too, because, like, even already, this is only the third out of, like, 8 loops, but there's already, like, substantial growth between these two characters.
Yeah.
Like, the rom-com format of them going from bickering to, like, kind of getting over their shit and figuring out they actually kind of like each other. It's already happening right here.
Yeah, when you're stuck in a time loop, your relationship has to mature, like, really quickly. Like,
Yeah. Although I do like when he's like, I've had this crush on you for, like, 3 years. She's like, 3 years? That is so stalkery. But, you know, regardless of the heart-to-heart, they do learn stuff, but then they still get killed by the Daleks anyway, because they just cannot escape them. On the TARDIS crew end, this one's also fun, because Dan decides to keep the Dalek busy in, like, the most hilarious way possible.
This was one of my favorite parts in, like, the whole episode. Like, so probably, like, my number 2 favorite, like, moment in the whole thing.
It's so good. And it's so, like... Dan only just got introduced at the beginning of the Flux season. So this is literally only his 7th episode in the whole show. So, like, I feel like we've gotten to know him decently, like, as well as you could in that short period of time. But anytime we sort of, this is one of those moments where it's like, okay, this is, like, quintessentially, like, who this character is and why this character is here. Because, like, this is not a thing that, like, Yaz or a lot of other companions would do. Because the way that he, like, distracts the Dalek is literally just by, like, talking to it and then just, like, walking in a circle around it, like, just out of pace of its blaster, so it, like, can't shoot him. And, like, that's it. And he's able to stall it for a very long time that way.
It's so pure and so basic and so genuinely amusing and good-hearted, and that's kind of why I like Dan.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sucks that we're only getting him for, like, a short period of time, because I'd say he's probably one of my favorite companions in the whole series.
Yeah, I'd really like to see more from him for sure.
Because he just wants to do good, and he just wants to go on adventures and do good.
Yeah. And there's, like, you know, a lot of Doctor Who companions, at least in the sort of, like, the modern era of it. I can't really speak too much for the classic stuff, but a lot of the companions are sort of like, oh, the Doctor picked you because you're, like, really smart and have a lot of gumption and, like, you're really badass and brave. And with Dan, it's like, oh, he's just, like, a dude who just kind of got swept up in this. But, like, there's space for that because he's going to come up with, like, plans that are so not ingenious that, like, it ends up working because the villains don't expect someone's plan to be this basic and kind of dumb.
He's almost like I want to say, like, right place, wrong time kind of character. Like, they didn't expect for him to be there. He just kind of got abducted by, like, some dog man.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of, like, he was just kind of there and he stayed. It wasn't like the Doctor specifically picked him up, like you said.
Yeah, he gives me a lot of, like, his role as a companion kind of gives me a lot of the same vibes as, like, Donna did at first.
Yeah.
Where it's just, like, the reason that she's so good is because she is just, like, kind of a regular person and it can call people out on their shit. Because it's like, here's me as a regular person telling you why that's insane.
Yes.
But even with Donna, like, her whole thing was that she also, like, no, actually, you don't realize how, like, awesome you are. And with Dan, I don't think that's, like, really an issue with him. Like, I don't think he really has any, like, self-confidence issues like Donna did. He's just, like, really just that simple, but in a way that's, like, very endearing.
He's very grounded. And that's such a nice, like, counterpoint to the Doctor and how grand everything else is.
Yeah. Well, and you see that in this episode because he's, like, because he's so grounded and not caught up in any of his shit, like, he can really see things that both the Doctor and even Yaz don't. And be like, hey, y'all, I see this, even though the two of you seem to not. What's up with that?
He's very, very observant.
Yeah, I love that a lot. Yeah, so eventually, Dan's plan only works for so long before the Dalek kills him, which he figured was going to happen. It still buys enough time for the Doctor and Yaz to find some like hazardous chemicals and objects that Jeff has apparently had. Why he has like chemical waste? Like, who is this guy? So like they do at least have that in their back pocket that like probably if you set this on fire, it would cause an explosion. So we'll use that later. But either way, 2 Daleks show up. They actually reveal that like they didn't start the loop. The TARDIS caused the loop, which is an interesting wrinkle. And they're also like, oh, by the way, we're very specifically here to kill you, the Doctor, as revenge for like killing a bunch of us during the flux, which is like, ah, shit. I knew that was going to come back to bite you.
And it's also just like a surprise too, because there was 1 Dalek and now there's 2 Daleks.
Yeah.
And like, what's happening? Like,
yeah. It's like, oh, nope, there's a whole squad. Cool. Whoops. And yeah, so the Dalek kills them again. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say from Dan's scene too, because that whole sequence is so good. I just love the exchange where he's like,
I've got some stuff I need stored and I just wanted to see what was available.
Daleks do not store stuff.
You're in the wrong job then, aren't you? This one's a little bit grating. What kind of a welcome is that? Hey?
I'll be calling you, do you manage it?
Daleks do not have managers.
Yeah, well, maybe that's part of your problem.
Daleks do not have managers.
It's like Daleks do not store stuff.
So good. Oh boy. Oh, it's great.
There's so many good Dalek one-liners in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So many.
So moving on to the 4th loop. In this one, everyone but Nick convenes. And that's when Sarah, who, is obviously starting to like have feelings for Nick as they've been combining with each other, she kind of like puts the pieces together. Like, wait, if we're losing like a minute each time we reset, Nick dies like roughly around the same time every time. That means the next time we loop, if he dies again during that time, he's just going to reset to the time when he's already dead. So he's not going to survive this whole loop period. So she kind of freaks out about that one. But luckily, Nick is able to like destroy 2 Daleks just by kind of dodging them right in time. It's cool. I love it.
You can't kill Rasta, right?
Right. Oh boy. But yeah, so that happens. So he's able to survive. The Doctor actually like comes up with a plan involving Sarah's mother's phone. I don't think it's not really clear yet exactly what she plans to do until later. And she gets one of her trademark big speeches that inspires everybody.
We make this work next time round.
But we failed to do this the last 5 times, and this time we've even less time. What makes you think that this is going to work?
Because something seems impossible. We try. It doesn't work. We try again. We learn. We improve. We fail again. But better. We make friends. We learn to trust. We help each other. We get it wrong again. We improve together, then ultimately succeed. Because this is what being alive is, and it's better than the alternative. So come on, you brilliant humans. We go again, and we win. Deal?
Deal.
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 With a new plan, the 5 of them face the 3 additional Daleks head on and are killed once again. I like the way that Sarah kind of confirms that she has feelings for Nick as being like, yeah, he's a weirdo. But I don't care that he's a weirdo because he has a good heart. And then you very clearly see Yaz kind of reacting to that, which is interesting what's going on there.
The good-hearted weirdos are the keepers. So
yeah. Yeah. So that's all nice and inspirational. They've got a nice plan. Everything seems like it's going to go great until this next loop, which is like the loop of failure, essentially. Which, though there's some big revelations in this loop too, so it's not all for naught. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that it starts right off the bat with Sarah just saying, "I'm so tired," which is such a mood. What a vibe. Feel the feeling of reliving the same day over and over again and just being tired all the time. Feels very relevant to the age that we live in now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so unfortunately this big plan is like thrown off immediately because the Dalek like destroys the lift controls and then cuts the power. So like they're in the dark. Sarah can't get up to the floor that they're supposed to meet on, and like gets killed like right off the bat. And their group is kind of all split up in the dark. So like their plan is not working right off the bat. They're fucked basically.
Yeah.
However, this is still a very big scene because the doctor's like, oh shit, these things are going badly. I got to leave. And Yaz kind of chastises her for leaving them all the time. And the doctor's like, I'm just trying to protect you, and runs off. And Yaz is just frustrated because this is just the thing that has been going on over and over again with them, that she just kind of wants to be treated like an equal with the doctor. Right. Mm-hmm. And this is the big heart to heart scene where Dan kind of like I don't want to say calls Yaz out, but kind of does a little bit, where it's just like,
have you ever told her?
Told her what?
How you feel about her?
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, you do.
Is it that obvious?
Well, maybe not to a good-hearted weirdo.
I don't know what to do, Dan. I've never told anyone. Not even myself.
Just tell her.
It's not that easy.
Look, I took way too long to tell somebody that I liked them, and then the universe ended and everything got messy. I wouldn't want that to happen to you, Sheffield.
So, where are you at with this? Because that's a big deal for many reasons.
I mean, I wasn't expecting them to go there.
Yeah.
Like, at all. I don't know about you or like anybody else, but I always saw like speculation, like shippers and stuff, what have you. I sort of could see it. I could see what the shippers were saying with their whole dynamic and certain things, but then they actually confirmed it and they actually went there.
Yeah.
And it was so well done too. Just, it was such a nice, genuine, like caring heart to heart scene. It wasn't like this whole like very special moment. It was just like, yeah, I've got feelings for her, like, but it's like scary. Like, I don't like, Yaz didn't know what to do with it. She wasn't really ready to admit it to herself. And that's like a scary thing.
Yeah. I agree with you that I wasn't really thinking about that ever happening, honestly. I think the clues are very clear there in this episode leading up to this. Mm-hmm. And I totally knew that there were people who kind of shipped them and really wanted it to happen. And I'm like, yeah, I would love for that to happen. There's no way they're going to do it. I wish that they would, but I don't see them doing it. So I was definitely really surprised that it's like, oh no, you're not even like, you're making it very explicit. The characters are talking about it. I don't know that I expect like a big kiss or anything like that from them.
Yeah.
But just the fact that they do confirm that it's happening, I do think is like, it is very significant. And like, I've seen people remark that like, it maybe feels like, I hate like referring to it this way, but like maybe it feels pandery, not in that they're trying to like appeal to like the woke crowd or whatever like that, but more that I can sort of see the argument and probably agree with the argument that like that wasn't a thing that they ever intended from the get-go when introducing these characters, and maybe didn't decide that they were going to have Yaz have feelings for the doctor until maybe very late in the game. And you could argue that it is maybe a little too late to have this happening literally right before we know that all of his characters are leaving.
Yeah. That's the only thing that kind of like, I'm kind of glad that they went there, because it is new territory for the show. They've had the doctor and the companions, or mainly the companions, have feelings for the doctor, but never like same sex, like never female doctor. It's never been like that. This is such new territory for them.
Sure.
And it's a little disappointing that there's only two specials left, and then they're done. It feels it's like you said, a little too late. Like a little too late.
There's no good ending for this, like I don't know that I never want to see the doctor like get in a relationship with a companion. I feel like that's just would never work.
I never want to see that either. I have my own thoughts. Like the one time they technically kind of did that with the whole like 10 clone thing.
Right.
That I've got my own thoughts on that. I'm not going to go there. But I kind of hated it. But Like, it was absolutely awful. But yeah, I never want to see it actually happen, but it's just a shame that there's not more time to explore this dynamic now that they've confirmed that it is a dynamic and it's not just like fan subtext.
Right. I think about how, they did the unrequited romance thing with Martha, and I actually really liked that a lot because you're very much on Martha's side with that situation. And then it ends on a very positive note, I think, because Martha's like, hey, I don't really have to deal with this anymore. So I'm going to peace out and like live my life and have my own happy ending because you're never going to requite these feelings for me. And like, I would like for that to be the case with Yaz too, where that's the reason that she leaves. But I feel like the track record for companions is more that they either die or like get
Something
teleported somewhere.
Happens.
Yeah. And I think it's a bummer that it's like, I don't know. I worry about how that's going to be handled, I guess. We'll see. There's, who knows how that's going to play out, but
I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared, but
yeah. And I have a conspiracy theory too, that like, part of me cynically feels like the only reason this happened late in the game was because once Russell T Davies got confirmed as being the next showrunner, and he's a gay man who's also known for like doing lots of gay content and writing lots of great queer stories. And maybe Chris Chibnall was like, shit, he's going to have like the first like same sex doctor companion relationship. Probably I'm going to beat him to it and have it first. So say that I did. Cause there's no doubt that like Davies is going to have a bunch of gay shit. Like one of the companions is going to be queer. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like they have to be, that's like a thing that he would do. So part of me like feels like that's the only reason that this happened when it did. Not that that changes the fact that it's still significant that it happened, of course,
And I always kind of like that it was, I mean, it's a shame that they didn't explore it before now, but I kind of like the slow burn in a certain aspect. There's something about that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
It's like a genuine evolution of feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is kind of nice because like Yaz was a character I remember in the first season she was introduced in. I feel like she got the least to do out of the three companions, and has sort of steadily been given like a little bit more like with each season, until now actually she kind of gets to have one of the more personal relationships with the Doctor potentially than anyone else has had before, which is an interesting route to take her character in.
Yeah.
So yeah, this still ends with the Daleks killing everybody, regardless of these big revelations. So this gets us to the sixth loop, which I think is a significant character growth loop, kind of continuing on the last one. In this one, the TARDIS crew discovers a bunch of illegal fireworks in the basement. So maybe put 2 and 2 together between the explosive stuff and fireworks now for where this is eventually going to lead. There's like a bit where the Doctor kind of snaps at Yaz.
What about all the stuff on the 5th floor? Just bring them down here. Sorry. No time. Really, no time. My actions are catching up with me. Time is catching up with me. I will not let you die because of decisions I've taken. Please, go, get the others. Because
Doctor's obviously very stressed out by this situation, but, after hearing Yaz, like, confess to being in love with the Doctor, or at least being infatuated with the Doctor, you feel kind of very bad for her because she's very emotionally raw, clearly right now. So when she kind of goes off to collect Sarah and Nick, Dan is alone with the Doctor, so Dan initiates another heart-to-heart, this time with the Doctor.
She likes you.
I like her too.
No, I mean, she likes you.
I don't understand what you're saying, Dan.
I think you do. But for some reason, you pretend to me and to her that you don't.
Like, the dude's just like a therapist in this episode, basically.
He's like the captain of the ship, as some kids like to say nowadays. He's the captain of the the Thasmin ship.
Oh my God, I love it. Right, but he's like, "Hey, Doc, you need to stop pretending that you don't know what's going on here. She likes you." And Doctor's like, "Well, I don't know what that means." Like, shut the fuck up. You're like a million years old. You know what I'm saying when I'm saying that someone likes you. Don't be a baby. So it's very clear that the Doctor is aware of what's going on. Whether or not she does anything with it remains to be seen. Sarah, meanwhile, confides in Nick.
Sorry you're going to be losing this place.
Oh, I'm not. It was, it was a family obligation, and then everyone was grieving, and then I sort of stepped in to help. But if this place blows up, I mean, you're going to lose all your stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I'm done with it. They're never asking for this stuff back, are they? Oh, my exes.
No, they're really not.
And what are you going to do without this place?
God, I don't know. Always sort of wanted to travel. Yeah, I had this, romantic notion, I suppose, that I would go traveling the world with someone. But, never really had someone to do it with.
So everybody's kind of growing. When the group reassembles, they decide, like, why don't we play with the rules a little bit? We know we've got 2 loops left, so let's come up with one final plan. But I love this so much. Use the next loop as a decoy loop. So instead of enacting the plan on the next loop, they're actually going to do the exact opposite of the plan so that the Daleks will not be able to actually predict their actions on the final loop because they're going to be confused by where everyone's going during this next loop. So we see that play out in this next loop, which is the decoy loop. It's very fast, but it's like basically like more or less exclusively for comedy. There's like one nice like emotional bit where like Sarah like tells her mom she loves her in case she doesn't get out of this. But other than that, like Nick gets the Daleks to destroy all the stuff in his storage facility. And it's like,
Thanks for the therapy.
Explain.
Terminated.
Thanks for the therapy. You destroyed all my ex's shit, and now I don't have to do it. It's great.
And there's another good one-liner there. He's like, terminate.
He's such a dork. I love it. And then like the whole TARDIS crew is just like hanging out in, I guess, where Jeff lives, eating beef and beans out of the can.
It was that was such a fun visual. Just like Daleks busting in, and the Doctor's just got like feet kicked up, eating beans out of a can.
Oh, it's so good. And like, yeah, they're just chilling. The Daleks are like, what the hell is everyone doing right now? I don't understand. I guess we'll just kill you all like we normally do. Oh boy, it's great. So since they've gotten that decoy loop over with, that leads us to the final loop where everyone's like, I love it. Everyone's like super committed to their final plan, and it like goes like swimmingly. So how it all works: Sarah calls her mother, asks her to call back at 10 seconds to midnight before hanging up on her and giving her phone to the Doctor. The TARDIS crew transports all that explosive material to the basement, set it up around all the fireworks. They escape through that secret basement exit, but the Doctor uses her sonic to like place life signals where the mass of explosives are, because whatever, it's a sonic and can do whatever the hell it wants. And also put Sarah's phone there. So basically, like, the Daleks think there's a person there. They go to where it is. The phone answers and Sarah's mom like starts talking. So they're like, oh, a person's hiding. So we should obviously shoot at that massive stuff where the person's hiding, which is a massive explosives and fireworks. So that means that everything blows the hell up and the entire building implodes. Fireworks are going off and everybody's escaped out that back exit and is fine. And the loop is defeated. It's now after midnight and everything's good to go. And
you have a nice fireworks show.
Yeah. There's even a little cameo. I had to look up who it was because I'd legit forgotten.
Me too.
Who this dude was.
I had no clue who he was.
Yeah, there's a cameo from this character, Carl Wright. He's just a dude who was like a supporting character in 13's first episode. And I think it's just a fun reference because this is, the first of the last 3 specials that we're going to see 13 in. So it's just a fun reference to her first special is all. But yeah, so pretty fireworks display on New Year's, and the crew find a rejuvenated TARDIS in the wreckage. So everything's good.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we just got a quick little epilogue that shows that Sarah and Nick have gotten together. They're actually about to embark on travels around the world.
Traveling around the world with a man I just met.
I guess it's a weird first date.
As opposed to our actual first date, where we were killed 8 times by robot aliens.
And saved by a woman in an old police box. But was that a first date? I feel like it was more of a meet cute.
Well, they basically had an entire rom-com movie in the span of like 10 minutes, but you know, so yeah. But yeah, so they start their new life together, and this TARDIS crew flies away onto their next adventure. So what are your general thoughts about this this whole episode?
I mean, it's probably one of my favorite time loop things that I've ever seen. Just get that out of the way. It was it really was. Like I loved how it had a sort of a fresh take on the whole time loop, because every single time, like, yes, time was resetting, but everything was different every time.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like you have to adapt to sort of the same situations every time or learn some kind of moral lesson to break the time loop. This was just like it was almost like a combination of a bottle episode and a time loop. Like you're stuck in one spot, you can't get out of it. And I mean, it was different every time. I keep saying that, but I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like the time loop was adapting around them rather than them kind of adapting to the time loop.
Yeah, it's a really fun wrinkle to add onto it. I agree. I love when time loop stuff sort of like as much as I love the traditional time loop type of story, I do think that there's something just really ingenious to finding ways to sort of break the rules just enough, even while keeping within the confines of the time loop. I don't know if it reminds you a lot. I don't know if you've seen the Netflix show Russian Doll.
I have not.
Oh, no. Dude, it's so good. It was like my favorite piece of media that I watched the year that it came out. Highly recommend it. It's super short. I think you'd love it. It's a similar vibe where it is about a time loop, and a time loop that is like, it loops back when the character dies, basically. Like this one. And it's really similar in that, like, it's not an enclosing time loop, but it is sort of like things sort of like tweak and adjust, and it seems like reality is sort of like collapsing in on itself the more time loops, sort of like how this one is.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you'd really enjoy it. And
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it rules.
I just Googled it. I think it's by, was it Leslie?
Headland, I think is her name.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her theater stuff. So definitely.
Yeah, and Amy Poehler also did some writing on it, I think, and Natasha Lyonne, I think, did writing on it and stars in it. It's fucking rad. It's great
I'm going to
stuff.
have to definitely check this out now.
Yeah, and I think they're working on the second season right now, too, so I'm super excited about that. But I only bring it up because there's definitely, like, similar vibes, but I feel like this is still a very different take even from what that was doing, and there was a lot more, like, thematic stuff in Russian Doll, whereas this one, I kind of appreciate that, like, there isn't really a larger theme to it other than just the idea of, like, adaptation, I guess. It really is more like a fun plot with a time loop, and that sort of gives some room for the characters to kind of, forcing the characters kind of to reflect on things and grow a bit within it.
I like how it was also very much just like almost a character study, a lot of good character development. And it was also just a love story, too.
Yeah.
As much as I like to, I mean, I sort of deny that I like love stories, but but like I really genuinely do appreciate them despite how much I deny it. So
yeah. I mean, like, the trouble I think is usually when, like, romance is not done very well and it's as a subplot in something else that maybe, like, ends up distracting from everything else going on. But, like, this one, I feel like the rom-com stuff complements what they're doing extremely well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it all kind of fit together. It made sense. It made very good sense for the situation that they found themselves in.
For sure.
It kind of leads to more speculation about where Doctor Who goes from here, but that's a whole separate conversation.
God, Yaz and the Doctor had better have a fucking conversation.
I know.
And it better be like not like 10 minutes before she regenerates or some shit.
Know. That's going to be so I'm going to be so like, I'm going to be pissed off if that's how it happens. But
we'll see. I'm worried, but we'll see.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it happened, but I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah. As of now, I'll take what we've gotten, and I'm happy that we got what we got, and we'll see where it goes from there. Mm-hmm. Well, awesome. Well, I'm so glad I had you on for this episode, AP. If anyone wants to find you online or anything that you're working on or anything like that, where can they find you?
So if you want to find me online, I'm basically just on Twitter @SecretRangerFan. I'm on hiatus from my podcast right now, but you can also find me on Ranger Command Power Hour, which is a Power Rangers podcast that I co-founded with my two friends, Eric and Zach, and we have a good time on there. We've got hundreds of episodes. People can jump in at any time and listen to any one of them, and that's something that I do. So
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Ranger Command is the best Power Rangers podcast out there for sure.
Thank you.
If you'd like to find me, you can find me on my personal Twitter at Derek B. Gale, or on my other podcasts, Walloping Web Snappers, a Spider-Man podcast, which does deep dives into every Spider-Man cartoon ever made. AP has been on a few episodes of that as well.
I have.
And you can also check out Falling with Style, an ongoing Pixar movie marathon, which is a monthly podcast that dives into every Pixar film chronologically. If you'd like, you can follow this podcast at Gimmicks Pod on Twitter and Instagram for some extra goodies, and email me your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmickspodcast@gmail.com. And also, please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on all podcast platforms. Until next time, friends, keep being weird.
Daleks do not have manager.